All right. Which of the following types of networks allows parents to register for accounts to view their child's grades on the school district website? Okay, what is the question asking of us in layman's terms, in normal speak?
No.
And what are keywords and phrases we have to pay attention to? What are they asking us?
Type of
Uh,
network.
Type of network, right? So these are supposedly types of networks, and we're trying to identify one that will allow parents.
No.
Hey, brother, how are you? I'm sorry. Go over there with a parent.
Okay, if there's noise in your background, if you could mute yourself, please, and thank you. Sorry, I'm just muting people willy-nilly, but if there's noise in your background, please mute yourself. Okay, so what else? What else is important?
Allow parents to register accounts.
School district website.
School district website, and we want the parents to register.
And view their child's grades.
Right, to view their child's grades. So we need them to register. What type of network would allow for parents to view grades, to register, and so that they can review the grades within the school district website? So we have A, router, B, server, C, intranet, D, extranet. Okay, so what can we eliminate and bet ourselves $5? That is not the answer because it is not a type of network.
The router.
A router is not a type of network. It allows you to connect to the internet, I believe, right? It routes internet, and it's not a network.
Yes.
An auxiliary device that we use to connect. So what else can we eliminate?
Extranet.
You want to eliminate extranet? How come? I need a valid reason.
I don't even know. What is the
Because
I want to say we can eliminate server.
Yeah, let's do that one first. I like doing that one first better because we know that a server is not going to help parents register for accounts within the school website. That's not what's going to happen. So we're left with intranet and extranet. Both of them are
isn't a server like more for like data? Like
yes. That is correct.
So the way I'm processing it is going back to the root word, internet, internal, extranet, external.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking. I love that logic.
The answer is extranet.
Yes, I love that logic. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The answer is extranet. And let's go back to what you were saying, using your logic, going back to the root word. Intra has in right here. Extra, it has external. And so an intranet, you know how if you're a teacher in a school district, there's the school district website, you guys can send emails to each other, and there's a server, and everybody's like protected inside intranet, and we can talk to each other within this this network. Nobody outside of the network can come into it. That's not possible.
You know where I've seen that one?
Yeah.
I've seen it when you send emails, like I'm a special ed teacher, right? And I want to send emails to like the workforce solution lady to invite them to the art. Bueno, that's where it comes out. Extranet, that people that cannot connect to the internet for the district.
Exactly. So the extranet is where a person from outside of the special population, which is the district website or the district network, if you will, allowing them access to specific things. They don't have access to everything. They can't look at other people's grades, all that other stuff. It's just like a network that allows a pathway from the outside. Like you are not a teacher or employee or anybody that's in the intranet, but you need to get one particular data point. The extranet is there to allow someone from the outside, like parents, to, to get that information. Excellent job, guys. I loved your process of elimination and your rationale. Wonderful. Let's do another one. All right, so we have this one. While researching the origins of a community, a student discovers a conflict with comparing data obtained from different sources. Which of the following sources is considered most reliable? Now, this is a technology application standard. It's from what we're going to be tested on. So what are they asking us, and what keywords and phrases are we looking for? Like what's here for us to pay attention to?
While researching, discuss, comparing data obtained from different sources, comparing
Data, and what else? There's a conflict, right? That means that something's amiss here. There's a problem. They're comparing data from different sources, and there's a problem. So the question is asking us what?
Which source is considered the most reliable?
Most reliable. What does that mean? Most reliable.
Like with more other reliable.
That we can trust.
There's a conflict, right? They're like, I'm getting two different stories from different, and we're looking at the origins of a community, and there's a conflict. Apparently two different stories, and they want to find the most reliable source of information. Let's take a look at
something that's not from Wikipedia.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Definitely not. Okay, let's see. An editorial commemorating the 100th anniversary of the community's founding. B, famous anecdotes in pamphlets distributed by the local Chamber of Commerce. C, published letters written by one of the community's original settlers. D, a biography of the life of an individual credited with founding the community. So let us eliminate ones we think are not correct. So which one of these is up for the chopping block? We're looking for the most reliable source that would help students settle a conflict because they're doing the origins of a community and they found some differing information. So
B would be out.
most reliable.
We can eliminate B.
B, famous anecdotes in a pamphlet distributed by the local Chamber of Commerce. So famous anecdotes means just famous stories in a pamphlet by the local Chamber of Commerce. And that's not the most reliable source. Might it be reliable? It might be, but it's not the most for a very particular reason. Right. We'll get into that in a little bit, but absolutely, I would agree that B is out and not A. An editorial, like somebody writing an editorial talking about the 100th anniversary of a community's founding would not be the best resource. We're looking for the origins of a community, the best, most reliable resource for the origins of a community. And an editorial 100 years after the fact, not super reliable. We're left with C and D. Which of these two is most reliable? And then I'm going to ask you why.
Published letters were involved.
B.
The origin.
I'm liking the answers in the chat.
I agree with C.
Yeah.
Yeah, C.
I mean, original settlers.
And so what word in letter C makes it better?
Original.
Look at the connection here of origins and where is it? Original, right here. Origins and original. The best, most reliable resources are like they are not our primary source, our primary resources. They come from people who were alive at the time in history that we're talking about. That's the most reliable resource. So even a biography of a life of an individual career, like a biography means somebody wrote it after the fact. It doesn't come from the person who lived there. It's not a direct resource. The most reliable in any research sort of endeavor is going to be somebody who was there. And this is coming words in the letter written by somebody who was actually there. And that's going to be the most reliable resource for students who are researching the origins of a community. Excellent job, guys. Y'all aren't even being stumped by these. I'm very proud. All right, let's look at this one. which of the following scenarios describes an ethical acquisition and acceptable use of multimedia? So this one is not just talking about application of technology, but the ethical acquisition, you acquiring it in an ethical way, and then you utilizing it in an acceptable way. So what keywords and phrases are we looking for?
Which are the ones describe acquisition.
Ethical acquisition.
Ethical acquisition and acceptable use.
Acceptable use.
Okay, now let's put them in layman's terms. What does ethical acquisition mean? In like normal people talk. Just the way you got it, the lawful, ethical way you acquired this. You got the thing, the multimedia. And
Yeah.
are you using it in an acceptable way, in a way that is okay with our laws and our professional responsibilities? Multimedia, let's take a look. Creating a file sharing service for movies that have been copied from purchased DVDs. Creating a musical composition by combining parts of 18th century folk songs. C, posting a video online that uses a current hit song for background music. D, using highlights from a televised athletic event to sell sportswear. Okay, let us eliminate the ones we think are bad. What can we eliminate emphatically and say that's not it?
D.
D.
Absolutely. We are not using things to
D.
sell sportswear.
A2.
D.
Did you say which one?
A.
A? Create. So why would A be wrong? Why is A unethical or not acceptable use?
They already
Because
go through the
Pirating.
It is
Having cop-
it literally is pirating.
Yeah,
It's
pirating.
exactly. Literally
Absolutely.
stated.
We're not running a Netflix service at school. Like that is absolutely not okay. So A is out and we can buy ourselves $5. We're left with B and C. Of these two, which is a scenario in which you have acquired this ethically and you're using it responsibly?
B.
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 Is the correct
Creating.
answer. Yes. Creating a musical composition by combining parts of 18th century folk songs. So there's two reasons why this is acceptable. The first is 18th century folk songs are in the public domain. They're free for everyone. There's not like a copyright where somebody's getting money off of 18th century folk songs. That doesn't exist. It's like just in the public domain, which is free for everyone. And apart from that, the students are not even just straight copying that. They're combining it and they're creating something new, which is
Mhm.
a higher order thinking skills, that synthesis. And so B is the best answer. Ethical and
Creating.
appropriate.
Miss Sauceda,
Yes.
I just wanted to, so there was a question, there was several questions that had to do similar like these ones that we're going over. And there was the, what is it, the use, what is it called? The acceptable use.
Policy, yeah.
It was something similar to that the teacher wants to show a film, you know, like The Lion King, right? And what type of permission would he have to obtain in order to show it to the class? And I was a little stumped on it because I felt like, okay, it kind of didn't, to me, I guess I just wasn't as familiar as I thought I would be for this type of question. But basically it asked like, you know, do you need to have, you know, the original, does it need to be an original, I guess, you know, film, DVD? Does it have to be, you know, original? Or does it have to be, do you have to get permission from, you know, the
Disney.
Yeah, like it had, you know, question. I was just like, huh, that's a good question. So
Okay.
I kind of just did my best, but yes, and I really don't even know if I got that one right, because like I said, I was like, huh, who do you need to ask if you're going to show a film, you know?
Right. So like you would ask, I mean, to show a film, a full-length film, first of all, I mean, you should just show pieces of it. And if you're gonna show a film, and you don't want to break any ethical laws, acceptable use policies, it has to be for educational purposes. And if we use something for educational purposes that is not for like monetary gain, you're not trying to use it to sell sportswear, that's fine. If there is an educational purpose for it, utilizing it in your classroom, you don't have to get permission from like the producers or Disney or anything like that. We can show those things in our classroom for educational purposes. So I'm not sure what the answer choices were.
And it didn't have anything, because I did know that was one thing that I, it's like, okay, as long as it's for educational purposes, like for me, I kept reminding myself, okay, so what here? So it didn't have anything related to that, but something that you said, like right now about, if you don't have to show the whole thing, it did have a question like that. Like, would you just, because it was for in the actual question, it did say it was for educational purposes. The reason it gave the reason why the teacher was gonna do the Lion King. I think
excellent.
Yeah, so it did say that in the question. It said for figurative language or something. It gave the reason. So it's for educational, but one of the answers was something like that. It said would he, as long as he just shows pieces of it, not the whole thing, then he should be fine.
Right.
And then, so yeah,
that is best practice. That is best practice. And it's not just best practice because you're not, you're not, breaking copyright law, which you're not if you're doing it for educational purposes, but also TEA and Texas, they want us to maximize instruction. And so like to have our students watching a movie for the entirety of class is greatly frowned upon, right? Unless the entirety of the movie like is pertinent, but even then you should still stop and have questions and conversations in between. Like it should be interactive and not just like a movie viewing.
Got it. Okay, then that probably, I mean, I don't know, I don't remember all the answers, but that probably I feel like would have made the most sense, because the other ones I was just, it was like I said, asking permission from from, like you said, Disney. And another one was, it had to be an original DVD. And I was thinking, okay, what do you mean an original DVD?
Who even has that? Like, who even has the original DVD?
Right. Exactly. So I was like, wow, but that makes complete sense what you're saying. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. It does. All right. So this one is one of those which I super don't like. Let me fix this real quick because it's gonna be annoying. When they ask you one or two or three or four, which one of these? And so remember, whenever they ask you which two or which three or which four, that you don't forget, oh my God, I have to pick two. So this one is asking us, which two of the following activities are examples of using audio, video, or digital sources to solve an authentic problem? Okay, let's go back and let us analyze what is important for us to pay attention to.
Obviously, two.
Yes, two for sure. Let's not forget we have to choose two for this one.
Authentic problem.
That's what we're looking at. They have to solve an authentic problem. We're looking for them an activity where they're using either audio, video, or digital sources in order to solve an authentic problem. We're looking for activities that do this. So let us take a look at those answer choices. Collecting and analyzing data from a database to identify areas of critical need for a water project.
No.
Preparing a video to dramatize the life cycle of a butterfly as described in the textbook. Summarizing electronic information provided about the Amazon rainforest. Using an online archive of photographs to generate questions about life during the Great Depression. E, watching current travel videos of historical locations throughout the United States. What's the goal here? What are we trying to get the students to do?
To solve
Solve a problem.
Yeah, to solve authentic problems, right? That's the goal. Which of these is not trying to solve a problem, an authentic problem?
A.
Which one did you say?
A.
I heard B and A. Okay, so tell me why A is not an example of students collecting or accessing resources for a real problem.
Because it's has nothing because they're asking for examples using audio, video, and digital, and this is just getting data from a database where like, you know, to identify areas.
So the database is actually a digital resource. So a database might be something that it's filled with like data or graphs or whatever. And so they are accessing one of the choices that we have to use, audio, visual, or digital. So it is digital. And is it a real problem in the real world, an authentic problem?
And they're also identifying areas. So that means that they're identifying, they're thinking, they're solving.
Okay.
Why
I think A.
Take out B.
Somebody said B. Tell me why B is not an example of students using audio, video, or digital to solve authentic problems. Why is that not an example? I agree with you. B is not it.
The life cycle of a butterfly. I don't
Not
know.
an
I don't see it as an
authentic
It says
authentic
it's
problem.
preparing a video.
Right. It's not an authentic problem. We know the life cycle of a butterfly. All they're doing is describing it in a video at like, you know, based on what they learned from the textbook. It's not an authentic problem that needs to be researched or thought about or you know, gone into any further. So B we can throw out because they are not solving an authentic problem with this. They're just doing it's just an assignment. It's like a memory or a recall type thing to assess them, but not trying to you know, actually solve a real problem in the world. Okay, so
We can
what else can we
also
eliminate?
E.
E, why can we
E.
eliminate E with
Because
such
they're just watching videos of historical locations. There's no problem there. There's nothing to solve.
there's nothing to solve. Like, no, there's not a travel crisis where people are like itching for information about different historical locations. It's not a problem, an authentic problem. It's a cool activity and whatnot. But it's not having them solve an authentic problem. So we can be very confident and bet ourselves $5. E is not the right answer. Now we're left with A,
D.
C, and
I
D.
would eliminate D as well.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. D is out.
Okay, so D is out. Let me look at it. Using an online archive of photographs to generate questions about life during the Great Depression.
Oh, never mind. I take that back. I like D.
I think C is not correct because they're just summarizing
Summarizing what?
the book.
Right.
Trying
They're
to
just
book.
summarizing information. Again, they're not trying to solve anything with the rainforest. They're not trying to they're just summarizing information in a book about the Amazon, which is not an authentic problem. Identifying areas of critical need for a water project, like there's so much need for water, like renovation in cities, states, like it's never ending. It's a real problem in the world that students might need to think about. And so they're using their technology resources, whether audio, video, or digital, to help them analyze or you know, solve that authentic problem. And D, the Great Depression is indicative of when like we had this great collapse of the economy and everybody was poor. Poverty is not something that is just, you know, for the Great Depression or something that is just found in the Great Depression. It exists now. And could the Great Depression happen again or something like it? Yes, it could. So them actually generating questions about life during the Great Depression or what might have caused it or any of those things is actually looking at an authentic problem. Like that was a problem and it still is. The you know, availability of it happening again, and the fact that we still have people that live in poverty today. So A and D are the best, most appropriate examples of them using those technology resources to solve an authentic problem.
Oh, this is a tricky one.
What do you guys think? How are you thinking about this one?
It was a very tricky one.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
It is a
Pretty good.
tricky one. And that's what their goal is to make, they literally live for making the tricky ones. It's their job. So be mindful. What are they doing? And are they doing in the answer choice what the question needs for them to be doing? And only A and D, were they looking at something that was like might be a problem that exists in the real world still today? The Great Depression, it could happen again any day, any year or something like it. And the effects that we see during that time period, we sometimes see today or do see today. So let's take a look at this next one. To effectively evaluate students' presentations created at the conclusion of a social studies unit project, it is most important for a teacher to use a rubric to evaluate okay, so what is most important for us? What are they asking? What does the teacher want to do here? What are we looking for?
Evaluate student presentation.
Effectively evaluate.
Effectively.
Effectively.
Presentation.
What else? And so what does it mean at the conclusion of the project?
At the end.
Yes.
At the end. Another part for a teacher to use rubric to evaluate the.
Most important to use. So the teacher is going to use a rubric to evaluate.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I was couldn't find. So rubric is what we're looking for. To use a rubric to evaluate the what? So let's take a look. So it's at the end, it's at the conclusion of the unit project. What is most important for the teacher to use a rubric to evaluate the what? So let's take a look at it. A, special effects and the flashiness of the finished products. B, content learned and the effectiveness of the presentations. C, level of participation and contribution during the project. D, abilities and skills in using the presentation software. So let's eliminate the bad guys first. So what can we bet ourselves $5 is not the reason we would use a rubric, and why we're using it?
We'll eliminate A.
A.
Absolutely. Special effects and flashiness, like that is not what's most important and not the purpose of the rubric.
D.
D.
C,
the level of participation and contribution during the project.
Because I mean keywords during the project, not at the end.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
And plus, that's not what's most important. Remember, what do we use rubrics to do? What is the purpose of a rubric? What's another word?
Follow.
To assess the learned and effectiveness.
Yes, the rubric a rubric is an assessment. It is a tool that we use to assess students, and it's a tool for the students because they don't know sometimes, depending on the activity, how best to achieve mastery, how best to accomplish that task in a masterful way. And a rubric outlines the particular things you're going to be evaluating and how they can achieve mastery. So we're left with B and D. What is the most important reason for a teacher to use a rubric? To evaluate abilities and skills, or content learned and effectiveness of presentations?
Content learned.
Content learning effectiveness is the best.
Right. Abilities and skills in using software presentation is not what we're evaluating. They're doing a social studies project. The main goal is not their proficiency utilizing the presentation, but that is a factor. It is both what they learned about social studies and can they do a presentation effectively. So the rubric is going to help tell them what is the criteria for showing me the content that you learned and what is indicative of an effective presentation. Students always do better when we provide them with rubrics for things like projects, things that are a little bit alternative type assessments, activities that we give them that aren't so easy to be graded. A rubric helps guide the student, and it also helps protect you because, if you're doing a project and you don't have a rubric and a parent comes to you and says, why did my son get a 70? And you don't have a rubric and it's not very incredibly clear why they got that grade, you're kind of in trouble and in a position where you're going to have to say you're sorry and have them do something else, or change the grade. If you have a rubric, you can say, well, it's because, you know, they have to have a title page and that's worth this many points. And then they had to do this many slides. And so they only did one, and you can back yourself up. So rubrics, super important, very useful.
Another one I've seen, it's the same, it's like the same example, but they place it as a group presentation.
Okay.
And then they ask all kinds of things like, okay, Juanito's gonna do this, Panchito's gonna do that, and then how, like, it's like that, but in a group. And I'm
Right.
like, it's like, oh, okay. So it's hard. Well, that time for
Yeah,
me was like,
absolutely.
oh
And so you
no.
have to, again, pay attention to those keywords. What is Panchito
Yeah.
doing? What is Juanito
Yeah.
doing? You know, and how does it come together?
Always consider.
Okay, let's take a look. Which of the following graphic organizers should a student create electronically to best clarify the sequence of events in a movie script? Okay, what are they talking about? What are they asking us? And what is important for us to pay attention to?
Graphic
We're looking
organizer.
for a graphic organizer.
Yeah.
And students create
Create Bloom's
Create what?
taxonomy.
Electronically. I think this is important. Electronically to
I think
best clarify
the keyword is movie script.
And movie script, and a movie script. Reading.
sequence of events in the movie script, right? So there's events, a sequence of events. We need a graphic organizer that the student can create electronically to best show, that's best clarify, best show sequence of events in a movie script. So we're looking at the answer choices now. A is a storyboard. B is Venn diagram. C, story map. And D, T chart. Michael, you said get rid of D, right? You're ready to get rid of D.
Yeah, no T-chart.
Yeah, the T chart is not going to help us with sequence of events. You guys know what a T chart looks like, and it's like this, and you're like,
we still use that one.
yes. And typically, I mean, you can do an electronic T chart, but most of the time they are, you know, kind of handwritten. So let us take out
Venn diagram is compare and contrast.
that's right. And so that's not going to help us with a sequence of events, right? We have like different events in the story, in the script, and a Venn diagram is not going to work best as a graphic organizer. We're left with storyboard and story map.
Take out
Storyboard.
C.
Storyboard.
No, take out C. Story map.
Why do you want to take out C? You're correct, but I just want to know why.
Well, I teach digital media, and we still do storyboards.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a little bit of an edge. And that's wonderful because you won't have to study as much for the technology portion of it because that's your content area. But that's right. The storyboard is like kind of like a picture frame for each different event that happens, and they go in sequence. So the storyboard would be the best way for the students to organize or to illustrate, clarify the sequence of events in a movie, the storyboard.
They work
Can you
perfect. We still use them for scenes. They write a description under each one, and they describe what camera shot they're doing per shot. So,
what is the difference between a story map and a storyboard?
Got me there. I'm just used to using storyboards.
I've never heard of a story map. I feel like it's made up. There are bubble maps, and so like I can do a bubble map like this, and I can put like cat in here, and then I could do like different things that are connected to it. And so I'm assuming, just based on what I know of bubble maps, that a story map would kind of be like that, where you're adding on bubbles of information, but it's not in sequence. A map is always going to be like organic, like everybody's is going to be different. If every student did a storyboard on their particular events in important events, most of their storyboards are going to be the same. But yeah, absolutely, it is for more writing purposes.
A story map is a graphic organizer that helps students learn the element of literature by identifying characters, plot, and settings.
There you go. So cat, and we would put different things for here, and you could do different things for setting and add elements and indicators for whatever you're looking at. But a storyboard puts it in sequential order, and it is a picture descriptor of kind of, sort of like a tableau of that scene. So how do you use the storyboards in your class today?
Well, yeah, I have the kids write a script first. They'll come up with a story. Then we do the storyboard after, and like the storyboards I have are 6 boxes.
That's
And
awesome.
on each box they sequence their story, obviously, in order. They draw a little picture, doesn't have to be perfect, and be stick figures. And they put what camera shot they're gonna do, and they describe what's happening in that scene.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So now we know the difference between the map and the board. Board is sequential, maps more organic and more used for writing literature purposes. Like you can use it for your own writing purposes, and you can also use it for analyzing literature and sort of understanding different pockets of literary elements. Okay, now we're at a technology applications teacher is preparing a class to begin work on a group project. Which of the following strategies is most effective in facilitating collaboration and teamwork amongst group members? What's important for us to pay attention to here? And what is the question really asking us?
Begin work on a group project.
They're beginning it.
The first time, yes.
Yes, beginning it.
On a group project.
Group project, collaboration is key in this thing. So we're looking for strategies. And when they say most
Effective.
Right, you have to assume that they've given you more than one effective, and we want the most effective based on what they've told us. And our goal here, the goal for the teacher is to facilitate working together, right? Collaboration and teamwork, that's working together. We want to utilize a strategy that's going to be best for having the students work together as a group. So let's take a look. Separating girls and boys into different groups. B, limiting each group to 3 members. C, emphasizing group harmony as the most important goal. D, modifying group norms as the situation requires. So what can we eliminate because we can bet ourselves $5? That is not the correct response. The most effective way to facilitate people working together.
Separating girls and boys.
Yeah, we don't separate them into homogenous groups for gender. That's not the most effective way to facilitate teamwork.
Limiting each group.
B, limiting each group to 3 members. That's not going to facilitate or help the student collaborate. We're left with C and D. Which of these is most effective? Remember, when they say the word most, they've likely given you 2 things that you could totally do, but one works best. One is going to be more effective than the other. So is just telling the groups, guys, you got to work together, gonna work, or modifying group norms as the situation requires?
I'll
What
go
do you mean by group norms?
As the situation requires means as they're working, and if we see a problem, that's when we're gonna modify it, right?
Right. Or yes, or when the need arises, if the situation requires it, we modify group norms.
And
I think C.
I'd go with C.
C is the correct one, I think.
C is the correct answer or the wrong answer?
The correct?
Or it's most effective in facilitating.
It is a correct answer, but it's not the most correct. Right.
Yeah, it's because it's not the most.
Right.
The most will be D.
Right. So
because you're modifying the lesson, or you're modifying the group norms.
Right. And so you might have to change group roles or change the way in which the expectations of the group, just depending on what is required of the situation. It means that you are being active and actively working to help the students collaborate more? Simply telling them or emphasizing that you guys need to work together, that's not going to be as effective. Can you do that? And should you do it? Absolutely. You want to tell your students that they need to work together and that is an important goal. However, looking at the individual needs of the groups and modifying stuff within the group as the situation arrives is going to facilitate the ability to work together better. So this one was a tricky one. And when you see the word most, you have to tell yourself, oh, more than likely there's going to be two things that I can do and that are right. But one is more right than the other based on what I know and what they've given me in this scenario.
Facilitate.
Are we good on this one?
Yes.
Excellent.
I already screenshotted it.
Good deal. All right, let's take a look at this one. We have which of the following is the most important for a teacher to consider when designing assessment methods to evaluate a student portfolio? So what is the question asking us? What keywords and phrases are here for us to measure against our answer choices?
Again, most important.
Yes, most important. There's that most word. Most or best.
Assessment methods to evaluate.
Designing and assessment methods to evaluate, thank you, student portfolios. We're looking for something for us to consider. The word consider means think about. What should we think about? What's the most important thing to think about when we are making assessment methods to gauge or evaluate our student portfolios? Whatever a student portfolio is, a collection of their work. So let's take a look. We have the arrangement of items included in the portfolio, the intended audience for the portfolio, the recommended timeline for selecting material to include, D, the scoring criteria for the learning objective. What is the most important thing for a teacher to consider when they are creating the assessment method that they're going to use for the student portfolio? What can we eliminate? Because that's not what you should think about.
The audience of the portfolio.
Yeah, no, you are the audience of the portfolio. So B is out for sure. What else can we eliminate?
The recommended timeline for selecting material.
Michael, you want to eliminate D? How come? Tell me.
The scoring criteria.
The scoring criteria will be another word for rubric.
For a teacher to consider.
No?
Kind of, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That is what a rubric is. It's the scoring criteria. Like this is the criteria in which you'll be scored in for this alternative assignment that's not easy to be scored. What else can we eliminate? Just really the arrangement.
Yeah,
You don't choose the arrangement. The student chooses the arrangement in a portfolio. It's their portfolio. It's their presentation of their work. So they choose the arrangement, and that's really not important for us to consider when we're trying to come up with a way of assessing them. We have the recommended timeline for selecting material to include or the scoring criteria for the learning objective. What's the most important thing for the teacher to think about?
I like D.
I think the most important is the scoring criteria for the learning objective.
Yes, guys, we do not assess, and what they're talking about is an assessment method. We do not assess unless it's measuring our learning objective. We only assess our learning objectives. If our learning objective can't be assessed, we shouldn't be doing it. There's no reason for it. It has to be accessible. And so the most important thing for a teacher to consider when they're doing an assignment that requires a rubric is what is the criteria that I'm going to use to measure this learning objective? What things am I going to look at to make sure the student has understanding and proficiency in that learning objective? Are we good on this one, guys?
Yeah.
Excellent. Let me check the time. We're a little bit over time, and I still have, I think, 6 more problems or like 7 more problems. Do you guys want to continue with a couple more and then end it, or do you want to just end it? It's already 7:44.
Couple more.
Okay,
Sure, a couple more is
and
fine.
if you have to go, you can. This will be uploaded to YouTube and it'll be at the end of the playlist, in the PPR playlist. So let's take a look at this one. Which of the following tools will best guide students through effectively completing a final product? Oh, this should be easy for you guys. What keywords and phrases? I will send the playlist to you, Abraham.
Tools.
It's
Tools.
rubric.
Tools.
Best guide, because again, the word best.
Final product.
Best guide.
Most or best. Best guide students
Final.
through effectively completing. And we want to
Yes.
final product. So let's take a look. We have A, project rubric, B, project supplies, C, project calendar, D, project checklist. So we want to, our goal is that they effectively complete a final product. Which would be best? Which one of these things could we give the students and it would best help them? Which one of these?
Rubric.
What can we eliminate? Because it's absolutely wrong.
Supplies.
Oh,
We can eliminate
supplies.
Supplies, for sure.
Calendar,
Calendar.
Calendar.
Yeah.
checklist.
Checklist también.
Mhm.
And
So
some
they're
people
wrong.
choose checklist, but it's not enough. A checklist doesn't give them the specific. It just says do this thing, not do this thing
Yeah.
in this way. A rubric is going to be much more detailed, and it's really going to explicitly tell the students this is the criteria in each of these areas for you effectively completing this. So rubric is the best way to help a student with achieving, successful completion of a project. All right, well, this will be our last one for the evening, and it's about netiquette. A teacher instructs students on how to safely research information on the internet, participate in electronic discussions, follow accepted practices, for example, netiquette, and use approved passwords to assess information resources. The teacher primarily understands the importance of implementing which of the following objectives of information literacy. So what are they asking us here, and what's important for us to pay attention to?
How to safely research.
Safely research.
Safely research, participate in electronic discussions, accepted practices,
and use approved passwords.
Approved passwords. And we're looking for the teacher primarily understands. The teacher mainly understands the reason why you would implement the following objectives for informational literacy. And I feel like informational literacy is important, again, for us to remember. We're implementing which of the following objectives of informational literacy by teaching these things, because she's instructing them on the safety of research information on the internet, participating in those electronic discussions, the following those accepted practices of the internet and the digital world, and then, using the passwords to access the information. Let's take a look. A, students comprehend the legal and social implications of using information. B, students use information effectively to accomplish a specific purpose. C, students evaluate information and its sources critically. D, students retrieve information effectively and efficiently. So we're looking for the teacher. What does the teacher know? What do we know the teacher knows by the fact that she's teaching this? What is it important for them to understand about informational literacy? What can we eliminate? Because that's not talking about the informational literacy, and that's not what the teacher is doing. Did you say B?
C.
C. Yeah, they're not evaluating information. They're not looking to see if the source is valid, or they're not looking at the sources critically. They're not even talking about the sources just yet. They're talking about how to safely research, how to talk and participate in these electronic spaces, the practices you should use, and password protection and all that stuff. So they're not talking about evaluation of sources at all. We can bet ourselves $100 C is not it. What else are they not doing during this instruction?
Retrieve.
Did somebody say D?
Yeah.
B.
Yes, I heard D and B, and you're both right. D, they're not retrieving information. They haven't gotten to that point yet. We're just instructing about how to safely navigate and what is allowed, right? B, they're also, again, not being taught how to use information to accomplish a specific purpose. They're not talking about a specific purpose at all. They're talking about, in general, how to safely, legally, respectfully. Netiquette talks is sort of like a spin-off of etiquette. It's like the way that you behave in digital spaces. And so this teacher understands that it's super important that the students comprehend, that they understand that there are legal ramifications to our behaviors in electronic spaces and social implications of using information as well. So A is the correct answer, and we can bet ourselves $5 that it is. You guys were amazing today. I really thank you for staying late. We went a little bit over because we had some guests, which I'm super grateful every time a student does really well and they take the time. They're already done with class. They don't even have to meet with us anymore, and they come in just to give us a little bit of insider information. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys. Y'all are the real MVPs. I say it all the time. Teachers are the most valuable players in society, from which all other professions come from. So your job is so very important, and I know what you're doing is hard. Continue at it. I will see you guys on Saturday. We're going to do a really deep dive on and sort of do an instruction on ELLs. I'm going to make a PowerPoint and sort of get us to where we can summarize neatly what a beginner student can do: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. An intermediate can do listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So we'll be doing that and some more practice questions on Saturday.
Miss Sauceda, I won't be able to join Saturday, but can you record and I can see it later?
Absolutely. And I forgot to tell you, I was supposed to mention it in the beginning, but I got sidetracked with my students' amazing progress. But there is going to be a meeting. There is a new program that is being like a partnership between Texas A&M University and Teacher Builder, where they have this residency program, and you'll like get a job in a place, and but you have to be committed to, I think, getting a master's degree with them in education and being with the district for a few years. But it's an excellent opportunity, and that is going to take place on let me see, looking for the actual date right now. And you can sign up for it on the Teacher Builder website. It's going to be on February the 13th. So next Tuesday at noon. And there'll be others. And the lady from Texas A&M is actually planning to join one of my sessions on a Saturday, where she can come and talk to you guys and tell you all about it. It's an amazing opportunity. Very, very cool. So, keep that in mind. If you can attend on Tuesday, I certainly would recommend that you do. Very cool opportunity just to get you into, into placement, and also, further your education in that really cool program.
Thank you, Ms. Sauceda.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for everything. It's awesome.
Miss Sauceda,
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Yes, sir.
any word on my waiver?
Yes. So, unfortunately, I think there's a mandatory date that you have, like a amount of days that you have to wait to reapply for it. And
Okay,
I,
so, I'm sorry.
yeah. So, mandatory, and I believe you're still going to be required to do the 50 hours that you did
Again?
before. Yes, I know, but you have them already. I'm going to give it to you. It's just a matter of waiting out the clock. And I believe Jessica was going to look to see if it's actually kind of lengthy. It's a lot of days. It's either 90 or 100 and something. and that we have to wait until you can test again. So it's not a matter of you getting the hours. You will get the hours. I will give those to you. It's a matter of them, oh yes. She did. Absolutely. Thank you. I am going to get it done for you right after this. I'll add you, and then Pact is going to send you an email, and it'll have your information, like, so that you can join that stuff. But she did already email that to me, and I added a couple of people, and I was going to get to you guys, but I was getting the questions ready for today. So I will get on that, Mr. Martinez. And
Miss I'm
yes.
sorry. That is only gonna send me back more time. Those days that I have to wait 100 all over again.
Wait, no. Who is speaking right now?
Me, Fernando.
Oh, I don't think it's no. I'm sorry. I thought it was someone else that was asking me. It's not it's not you. But I do need to check with Miss Alvarez, because are you on a waiver, or have you done it before?
No, I was doing the videos to get that waiver.
No,
And
you're fine. You don't need to wait the days. You're good to go, and I will get you the certificate tomorrow, and we'll begin your waiver tomorrow.
will you email it to me?
Yes, sir. I'll email you your certificate, and I'll show that you've attended classes, that you've watched the videos and all that stuff. And so you'll get your hours.
Ah, okay. Está bueno, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
You have a good evening, ma'am.
Yes. You guys all have a beautiful evening.
Miss
Real quick, Miss
Sauceda,
Sauceda.
Yes.
okay. I was gonna ask you about these videos. Are there in the Google Drive? Because I'm not getting these on my Google Drive. Can you provide me with the videos and the PowerPoints?
Yes. So the PowerPoints are in your Google Drive, and the videos, although I can't save them because they're too big, I have to upload them to YouTube's because their mainframe is like their server is able to like hold it. And so when I add it, it'll be at the end of this list, and I'll resend you the link. Yes, Rico,
Okay.
unfortunately, that's who I thought I was talking to, Rico. Sorry. Yes, that is the boat, and I need to check with Miss Alvarez, but we do have to wait. And so it's not a matter, like, I know you have the amount of time put into taking the exam again. It's just a matter of waiting out the days.
Okay, so then it'll just be like what we had talked about. It'll just be, but is there a chance maybe be 90 instead of the 120, or?
I'm gonna ask
Yeah,
Miss.
I guess just let me know.
Yeah,
I kind of
absolutely.
figured because I had asked before I took the exam, what if I don't pass it, and they kind of told me that, so I kind of figured, but the sooner the better if we could. But I understand the situation.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
absolutely. No, and I understand your situation, and I saw some things on Facebook that I was very
Yeah,
unhappy about.
you saw that? Crazy, right? That's what I was telling you
It
about earlier.
is I'm so like, I wanted to go on there and just yell at people, first of all, because you passed PE with flying colors and you're an amazing PE coach, and people are just talking out of their rear ends, and it just is really maddening because you're so very close at 239. Like, it's not indicative of what you can do. This one type of assessment that the state gives, it does not show the proficiency that teachers have. It really doesn't. Some people are just bad test takers. That we have students that are bad test takers. Not everybody performs well in a particular type of exam. That's why we provide multiple types of assessments so that the students can show us what they know. So please do not let that like get in your head. You are amazing, and the fact that your principal stands by you is a testament to your work.
There's no way she could write a letter. She had asked me if we could write a letter. I was like, I could ask, but at this point, I don't even think it would matter, right?
I don't know. For the state,
Yes, over the TA or whatever.
I don't
Like,
think it would, and not for Pearson. And it's Pearson is the one that we have.
oh, okay, I got you. Okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll just figure it out as the days go on, and we'll just take it from there. I appreciate everything, though.
Absolutely. You have a beautiful rest of your day, and let me know if you need anything.
Well, thank you so
Miss
much.
Sauceda.
Yes.
So I will find the questions that we're been reviewing lately in the YouTube, right? Because I've been
The questions are in the Google Drive. I know that's kind of confusing because there's two different locations. So the questions are on the Google Drive, and I added them here. And I think I
But the
put it,
recent ones that we've been doing in this month.
yes, this
like-
one right here, the one we just did today is right here. It says PPR questions 2/7/24.
Okay, so it's gonna look like that in my drive, and it's gonna be in, I go to my drive, and then it's gonna show me the PPR session,
That's
practice questions. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sauceda.
All right,
One
guys.
quick question, Ms. Sauceda. One quick
Yes.
question. I emailed you my score sheet. I don't know if you were able to look at it. So
I believe I did. Did you need work on domain 2?
I believe so. I don't have it in front of me. Let me see my email.
Yes, and I actually added some questions. We just didn't get them today. So I do have some domain 2 questions dealing with like
Yeah, because I got a 239. The first time I got a 238, so I'm like right there.
you are
just-
right there.
So I just want to like, I'm no longer teaching at the moment, but I want to have it just in case I decide to go back to teaching in the next year or two.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I guess I'll just I'll just join. Like I said, I can't join Saturday, but because I'm gonna be at a predator hunting tournament. But I'll join on next Wednesday.